Hello everybody and welcome to Soul Awareness Tarot. Thank you for being here. This is where I channel messages from Spirit to bring to you. If you're here, you're meant to hear it. Okay? Doesn't matter who you are, where you are in the world. Now I pulled these cards earlier and I had to kind of put them in order, which is weird because usually I don't have to. Usually I can just look at the cards and they're in order. But I feel that the idea of putting things in order is part of the reading. See, everything means everything, something here. Especially when I'm at this table doing stuff. Okay? My guides, who are specifically the helpers to me to be of help to you, use my life experience and also my strongest suits, which is organization in a lot of ways. Okay. I had to put some of these in order because as you can see, some of these cards came out together but didn't come together, if you know what I mean. The message here is that you will also need to put a little bit of order in your house. I think that these come as a message to let you know how to do this, okay? Because we have some straggling energies. I don't know how to put it, but it's kind of those things that hang around that are just, you know, loose ends that are constantly with us, that are kind of hindering our progress. They're oppressing us. The card of oppression came out, but the card of the Nine of Cups came out too, and that's the part that I was going, how can I have this and this together? It doesn't make any sense. But the thing is that this is how you begin and this is how you want to end, if you're getting it. See? From feeling burdened to feeling blessed. You want to work through these things to get to here. And that made a lot of sense. One of the messages here came in as the moon, which is the card of intuition, but it's also known as the card of being confused. The best way that I can see is that in the moon, you get a lot of intuition. You always do. If you're looking at the moon, you can feel her intuitive power. She brings in like dream states and all of that, but in that is also illusion and confusion. Illusion, why? Is because if you look at a full moon, you swear to God that this thing has a light of her own, but she's not. She's actually reflecting the sun. So, a lot of people think, you know, fraud. You don't have your own light. You're false advertising, right? And the thing is that causes confusion. It causes confusion, but it really isn't. Because thus you shine a light should be the ultimate message. And that would be yes. You're not asking how or why or who. She is simply shining a light. Even if it's not her own. So I always think that when the moon card comes in, it comes in with a message of let's clear this up. And I feel that this is what this beautiful message is for you today. Let's clear these things up. Let's get you on your way. Okay? The first card that came in, not the first card, I'm absolutely a liar. One of the cards that came in was the card of decisions. When it comes to making decisions. And it became clear that sometimes when it comes to making decisions, even myself, I have a hard time, right? Am I going to make the right decision? Am I going to make the wrong decision? Is this time, you know, is this a time constraint? What am I going to do? All I know is that it's important for me to make the decision, to go forward, to move forward. Yet I can find myself stuck in analysis paralysis. Too many choices, don't know, don't have enough information to do the whole thing, right? It's like knowing part of a recipe. They're telling me it's like you know you want to cook chicken and you want it seasoned, let's say, and I'm sorry for anybody who's vegan or vegetarian, but you're cooking a meal and you want it seasoned and you have an idea of just putting it in the oven will cook it. You know that's going to, but you're not sure what spice to put on it. But the important part is that you start cooking it. And then you can start looking through your ingredients or your spice rack and going, well, those two might taste really good together. And you mix them up and you spread them on. And then after it's cooked, you taste it and you'll be better able to gauge whether you want to do that again or if you want to add to it. You're not guaranteed perfection, but you're guaranteed something, a beginning, a foundation of sorts of what to go on. And that's the important part with this decision card. You've got to begin. Sometimes you have enough to go on, that even if you screw up, you can't be living in the fear of the screw up. You've got to take it as a learning experience. Okay? I love this because it's from Robert Frost, the first saying. It says, 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler, long I stood. In other words, he stood in indecision. It says, when you have a clear vision about how you'd like a particular situation to turn out, it can be disheartening when things don't pan out as you had hoped. What you need to remember is that each little detour you take on the road towards your goal is often a blessing of sorts. There's the blessing card coming in, okay? It's a blessing to learn things. It's a blessing sometimes to, you'll add these spices to this chicken recipe and you'll taste it and you go, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever tasted. I would have never known if I hadn't tried. You understand? So sometimes that happens. What you need to remember is that each little detour you take on the road towards your goal is often a blessing of sorts. There may be something that you learn by taking an unexpected path, or you may find that the path that you initially set out on was not the one your heart desired all along. Like, if it doesn't turn out the way you want, well, I know that those 2 spices, I shouldn't put them together, right? Things may not be exactly as you had envisioned, but they will turn out for you in one way or another. Okay? Remain positive and keep moving forward. Do not allow yourself to fall victim to regret. Every decision you have ever made has been the right decision to make at the time, with the information you had available to you. Keep your head up, and the fire in your desired outcome will burn brightly. Okay? This is a solar plexus kind of energy that comes from, you know, your powerhouse. When uncertain of the path you should take, your instincts will guide you in the right direction, reminding you that your inner compass will always lead you to your true north. I like that. I like that. Also, I had a discussion with Wayne Dyer quite a while back, and I think I did. I'm not sure if I did do a video about it, but we had a talk about failure, and he's had a lot about that. He's had a lot. Failure is an illusion. No one fails at anything. Everything you do produces a result. That's one of his sayings. In other words, take the word failure out of it. Even if you don't end up exactly where you want, you still produce something at the end of that. And that's the thing that needs to be reminded. If you put your whole heart, okay, and your whole work into something, which is the 8 of Pentacles, when you work hard at something and you're going, I'm going to, you know, do some really awesome work here. Failure, I wouldn't say that failure is never going to happen, or let's take failure right off the table. The ultimate result. Exactly what you've been hoping for. May not happen every single time, but you're going to get results of some sort from the work that you did. You'll know that either you worked too hard, or you worked at not the thing that you wanted to, you needed to shift that, or you took too many hours to produce a result. You're going to have to kind of accommodate and shift and redirect what you want to do. But it's all learning. It's all a learning experience. Sometimes I've given things way too much attention to a little detail and realize, well, yeah, you know, it produced the result, but it was too time consuming. I need to find a better way of doing it. The biggest message I get here is don't waste your time in limbo. Produce a result. The only thing that produces that, in my estimation, is a failure is when you are stuck and not doing anything at all. You're failing because you haven't done anything to do anything. You haven't moved forward. You need to gain momentum. You need to move in that direction in order to bring something about. It's like people who say, I want $1 million and do absolutely nothing to get it. I want a home, but I want it to fall in my lap. What have you done to make it happen? I can't do anything, so I stand here complaining about it. You have failed. You have failed simply by not moving forward. Work at something, anything. Doesn't matter what it is. Movement and momentum is the surefire way of getting somewhere, getting a result of some kind. Now, will it be the ultimate result? No, but you have to kind of get that out of your head. You got to work towards it, but not make it the only thing in your life, or you're blocking your path to growth. So that was the first message that came in. The next message came in was about communication. And this one I could probably use as well. I'm just going to say that. Not here because, well, then the channel would be kind of, it wouldn't be worth having the channel if I shut up. When I do these, I have an idea or a thought pattern that I follow to communicate ideas to you, communicate spiritual energy that comes in to try to guide you and help you in a direction. I generally know where I'm going and what I'm doing, always. But in my life where I'm just oversharing all the time and probably speak way too much, because I do, and I blame a belief system or and I should say a childhood where I couldn't speak, so I overspeak now all the time. When I look at this, I think to myself, yeah, sometimes I should just observe more and be quiet. Be more quiet and observe more and communicate only what needs to be communicated. And I feel that's the next thing. Sometimes we, in our bid to want to help, in our bid to want to share or to be part of something with other people, right? We want people to like us. I'm a Pisces. As a Pisces, I always want people to like me, right? Sometimes we say a lot, but we should probably say just a little less. And it's not to stop communicating with people, it's to communicate the important stuff so that when you do speak, what you say is listened to. Now, you have to take this into consideration. People are around a lot of communication, even on their phones, in their lives. They're consuming a lot of blah, 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 blah. To have somebody who speaks with meaning, with deliberateness, is something that we need more of. Less chatter, more meaningful conversations, if you know what I mean. Something that means something, something that's going to help somebody, right? There's a saying for this card, and it says, I think a lot, but I don't say much, and it's Anne Frank. She was, of course, known for being in the, I believe, the occupation, and also for journals that were found. So I don't know if it was just more than one journal, but I know there are writings of Anne Frank. I remember reading it a million years ago when I was young. And very touching if you've never heard of it. So I would go do some research if you haven't. It's well worth it. It'll make you, if nothing else, appreciate the life you have. Okay? There are many ways to communicate with those around you when words are not enough. Though communication is often considered to be verbal, there are many other ways to cultivate understanding. If your communication with others, it's been difficult, it may be time to reassess the methods that you've been using to convey message. Words not spoken often say more. The way a person acts can provide more insight than what they're able to verbally communicate. Yeah, actions speak louder than words, right? Are you a quiet force of strength in someone's life? That can mean a lot. Consider the smaller interactions you have with others on a daily basis. A kind word, a compliment, a smile, a random act of kindness for someone you may never meet. All these things, they're very positive. And they bring positivity to other people's lives. And it'll reverberate through the world more than you'll ever know. It acts like a stone, going through. This message, along with this right here, which is the Prince of Action, who is a, let's do it now, think about it later, brought this kind of information in. The Page of Swords is very much about, like, he's the card of, gossip. So if you put the communication and the gossip together and the meaning of that card, you kind of put it two and two together. Are you conversing with people, or does it turn into more of a gossip thing? Are you conveying your thoughts, or giving your opinion on other people? Pay attention to your words. Pay attention to your conversations. Are they adding to positive reinforcement in your life and others, or are they just chatter and crap? You know what I mean? And by no means am I judging. I've done it myself. Because the thing is that as someone who doesn't relay a lot of gossip and drama and tragedy and whatever, you can be seen as somebody who doesn't have much to say or is very boring. Because everything you speak is meaningful. And some people are not ready for that. They want to live in a small world of just, chit-chat, crabby crap, and whatever. You can't blame them. It brings an element of excitement. It, beats down the boredom, but it doesn't really deal with anything or heal anything or improve anything. It's just a time killer. Yeah. So, Spirit is saying, don't spend your time with that kind of energy. Because you're just wasting time. Precious time that we have here. We don't know how long we are here. I always think, do I want to look back and think I spent all that time just blah-blahing about crap? I already feel bad about how much time I have in my life spent doing that. Instead of talking about the stuff that's happened to you, how about you share to people how you overcame it? Or ask them when they're talking about something difficult that they've been dealing with. Ask them how they overcame it. How did you get through that? I want to hear your success story, not your sob story. You know? I think I might use that one. Next up is surrender your need to always be right. And I love this card. It says, give others the gift of letting them be right. Be yielding, not rigid. This will help resolve conflicts and improve your relationships. Listen, I understand that sometimes you have the answer. Some people keep coming back with the same story, right? The same story of woe. Now I understand after a while you need to kind of separate yourself from that, and that's all well and fine. That's okay. That works. You can't stay with somebody who's constantly feeding you all this negative crap. But the I told you so's to people never ever made anybody feel really great. A smartass has never made me feel good. They make me feel small. When they correct you, when they told you that they did tell you, when you already know that somehow you could have taken a different road and it would have been easier. When somebody comes up to you and go, you know, you were right, instead of going, yeah, I was. The best thing you could say is, well, it's not about being right. It's about you being happy and finding peace and positivity in your life. And I'm glad you found it. Being right is the last thing I care about. Have compassion in your heart, especially for people who are trying, people who are doing what they can, people who are trying to move forward in their lives. If somebody steps and falls, you say, I told you were going to fall, it doesn't serve a purpose. Help them up. If they ask, what was that? You point it out. It was that. Let me help you over it. Again, not judging anybody with this. You have to understand that when you feel your sense of pride because you are right, in essence, you're looking for somebody to acknowledge that you had the answer. And I can understand how attractive that is. Aha, I was right. It gives you validation. I knew the answer. I'm a smart person. You just have to consider that it's enough for you to know without advertising it, without making others feel bad about it. And just let them figure out their own lives. You can be proud of yourself for knowing. Many times I have discussions with my husband and go, we learned that a long time ago, didn't we? It's so good, right? It's so good to feel like we know. But when dealing with a person, if they've learned a lesson later than you, be happy for them that they've They've managed to find answers to the questions they're looking for. Regardless of if they listened to you or not, whether they acknowledged that you gave them the answer. Ugh, and Lord knows I've given people the answer and never been acknowledged. Never been acknowledged. But I feel that my life path number is my cross to bear as a 5. I think that even as a child I was an acknowledged and I was abandoned and dismissed. And I think the lesson there was to be of service and not require anything back. Because even though I would love it, very few times does it happen. Very few times does it happen. It happens here, you guys, though. I've seen you guys comment, so please don't take offense. I have seen your comments, so you have thanked me, and I appreciate you. I'm talking at the world at large, you know what I mean? Your everyday people who are not part of this community. I feel that it's enough that when you've steered somebody in the right direction, to congratulate them when they figure it out, to say, I am happy you figured it out. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy that you're taking the path that's giving you positive growth and happiness. Couldn't be happier. And move on. And if they're not following your advice, that would be the last part. If they're really not following your advice and doing whatever the heck they want, it's not important for you to be right here. It's not important for you to fight your point. You're just going to alienate people who are not ready. Sometimes your right isn't their right either. Spirit's saying sometimes what you believe is okay isn't okay for everybody else, and that's okay. As life goes on, people have learned to change their minds and just go and figure it out. So these cards have come in for the 9 of Cups, so that you feel blessed, so that you feel fulfilled and successful, so that you can count your blessings even more, to repress the oppress, to clear up the confusion, to take steps forward even when you're not 100% sure, but pretty sure. To let people talk to you. To communicate other than with words. You can communicate with a hug, with a smile, with a look. To be careful of the words you speak. To not always, gossip or speak in a way that's negative. Bring positivity. And in the end, to let people find their own way. Okay? All of this has to do with communication. All of this has to do with communication. It's a way of talking. I'm right, you're wrong is a way of communicating. You don't want to communicate that way. You want to communicate in a way that you don't need anybody's validation that you're right. You know inside yourself that you're right about you. And that's all you need. Let people make their own mistakes. Let people come up to their own conclusion. Let people feel big about the decisions in their lives. That's pretty much it for today. I think there's a lot here. There's a lot to unpack. I want you to take a moment and let me know in the comments especially for the communication part. I would love to hear how you're going to change your way of communication. Pick a person in your life where you think maybe the communications you've had with them has been off, that you've been maybe either, blathering, judgmental, or anything of the sort. And tell me how you're going to deliberately, with thought and care, what you're going to try next time with them. I'd love to hear. I think my biggest one is I always like to, when I'm having a conversation with people, sometimes I run over them, because in my optimism, I just want to add what I want to talk about. And I think I'm just going to slow down and let them speak. And choose my words carefully when I return a reply. Just be more thoughtful in the way I communicate. I'm going to try that with a few people. Friend, probably husband. Although he's not a big talker, but just going to take my time. Let me know in the comment section what you're planning to do. I would love to hear from you. This is going to be a wonderful community of open communication. Please remember to be respectful. Please remember to take care of my beautiful Pisces friends, because they're the ones that this channel belonged to. And now I've opened it up to everybody, especially with these beautiful messages. So please be kind, be wonderful. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next reading. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.